that you're having. And then on the manufacturing side, I realize that, you said that this is a process. And so, I imagine that means that there's a bit of a back and forth. If there are any issues that do come up, would you be telegraphing any of that, or is this just you're keeping it as part of the process and you're still on board for second half and that's about all you're going to say? Thanks.
Yeah, so first on the commercial prep, obviously in the absence of approval, there's not much that we can do from a promotional standpoint or anything until we have approval. So when we talk about commercial prep, it's all around, we've continued to refine our pricing strategy and more market research work that we've been doing. I think that we've taken advantage of this gap between the launch of the filler and the expected approval of the neuromodulator to build further relationships with physicians at the customer level. So, we're continuing to establish the prestige Revance Aesthetics brand. I think people see us now as a company that's working towards a broader range of products, both from a services and a product stage. And then obviously we talked about building inventory in advance of launch. So a lot of the launch prep is internal activities, getting all of our sales materials ready and everything to support that. So that's kind of more of what we're doing on the commercial prep side. On the manufacturing side, we kind of broke protocol in commenting on where we were in our FDA journey, given the pandemic, when we talked about the fact that an inspection had not been scheduled prior to the PDUFA, and then again putting out a press release that one had been scheduled to occur before the end of June. So I wouldn't read into my commentary about process. This is sort of a standard piece that needs to happen before approval. So the next communication you'll hear from us is kind of once we get the FDA decision. But again, I come back to the fact that we feel very good about our prep and where we were in that process, and we continue all of our preparations in the hopeful approval of the product. Next question.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of David Amsellem from Piper Sandler. Your line is now open.
Hey, thanks. So first question is on the fillers. I don't know if you talked about this in your prepared remarks. I'm sorry if I missed it, but can you just talk about the mix among the different SKUs? Are there any that are predominating, or are there any that have gained particular traction or that practices have a real affinity for thus far? I know it's still relatively early in the commercial life, and these are early days, but as things evolve, what are you seeing out there in the field? So that's the number one. And then number two, can you just remind us on DAXI, once you get approval, what sort of net are you going to cast in terms of training of injectors? In other words, how many should we expect you to have trained within the first 6 and say 12 months of the commercial life of DAXI, and over time should we expect some